Hello friends, welcome to my channel. I hope you all are happy and healthy. So in this video I'll be showing you my 5 month result after hair transplant, and this is how my hair looks after hair wash and when they are dry. You can see the frontal hair density and overall density of the hair has increased as compared to the past, and this is how my hair looks like after wash and when they are dry. And I am also showing you the result after combing my hair in the upward direction, so you can see the hair density clearly. As you also see in other hair transplant videos, this is how they show you the density after the hair transplant by combing the hair in the upward direction. So my aim is to provide you honest feedback based on my experience after hair transplant. There is no hidden agenda here. So you can see in these two side-by-side comparison images that this is how the transplant was done and this is how the frontal hairline is looking like. You can see in this part of the hairline the hair has been transplanted, but the result is kind of weak, and this is how I comb my hair to give proper shape to the frontal hairline of this side. You can see on the left hand side, you can see that this is the portion and this where less result is there, and this is how the frontal hairline and temporal corners were designed, but you can see the result is kind of weak and less. So in my surgery, the full hair transplant was done 80% by two technicians. One technician performed hair transplant surgery on this side and the other technician did on that side. So this side result you can say is kind of better as compared to the other side. So this is also a comparative image for the right hand side, and you can see the result is better as compared to the left hand side. And that is why I'm flashing in the font that your transplant surgeon should be expert in creating frontal hairline and temporal corners. In my case, the technicians were not that experienced, so always the learning lesson for all of you is that always choose a clinic where the transplant surgeon is doing 2 to 3 surgeries in a month. In my case, only 2 to 3 surgeries were happening in a year. So in this side-by-side photo that you can see that this is how my hair were a few years back, and this is how this area is kind of weak. And it's a learning lesson after hair transplant that whatever you have got, you should be satisfied in that. So whatever hair is required to cover my head, to have enough hair not to look like a bald person, I have that amount of hair. Even though the result is not that great, I would like to thank my medical team for giving me a good hair transplant. So you can see here I have enough hair to comb my hair properly in a hairstyle. So after 5 months, the density of hair as compared to the previous is kind of better. You can see in this photo that before hair transplant surgery, my frontal hairline was very thin. So here you can see before hair transplant surgery, my frontal hairline was very thin. From the front hairline till the crown area, the hair were very thin. So now you can see that I have enough hair to give a proper hairstyle and to comb my hair in any direction I want, and still you can see that I have a full head of hair. So I was expecting frontal hair density to be like this, which you can see in the side photo and which I was having few years back, but and my hair transplant surgeon also told me that 95% of the transplanted hair will grow for sure, but there are few patches where the hair is very thin, but I am still satisfied I am having full head of hair. And this is how my frontal hairline looks like, and you can see I'll also show you how the look is from the side, this side, and from the other side as well. So you can see that the thinned crown area is not that visible, the thinned part of the frontal hairline is not that visible, and I am having full head of hair. And this is how the full frontal hairline looks like. I am showing you very clearly. So I will still thank my medical team for giving me a good hair transplant. And the one thing I have learned after the hair transplant is that you should be happy with whatever you have. Whatever hair I have after the hair transplant, I am happy with that. Now I am having enough hair to cover my full head. I was having some hair before the hair transplant in the front part and on the full head, but they were very thin, and I went for the hair transplant so that I can save the existing hair, and because of the transplanted grafts, the existing hair will also grow thick. And you can see this the donor area, and still you can see it is very dense and very healthy, and it has fully healed, and still 5 to 7 thousands of grafts are available for further transplant in the future, but I'm not thinking about that anymore. And you can see that the donor area has fully healed and it is still very healthy and dense. You can see the roots are white, that's why it is looking more white, because my 80% or you can say 60% of the hair are white, and that is why the roots where the henna color is not there, it still looks white. You can see it here that the roots are white, and whatever the outer part of the hair where I have applied the henna is covered with the henna color. So even after having such a dense donor area, there were shortage of hair for the crown part during the hair transplant, and the only reason I can say is because there are few clinics which are best because they do 3 to 4 hair transplant in a month, and there are few clinics where the result is not that good as compared to the other clinic because they do 2 to 3 transplant in a year. So this is the learning lesson from my experience, is that you should always go for a clinic where the transplant surgeon is doing 2 to 3 hair transplant every month and he is expert in creation of the frontal hairline and the temporal corners. You can see this how the crown part is looking like, the blank part where the hair transplant grafts were less during the hair transplant. It is still bald, but you can see that when I comb my hair in this direction, half of the crown area is covered, and this area is there is still very thin hair is there. Hair are still there, but they are very thin, and I'm working on that. I'm using derma roller, minoxidil, I'm using nutrition, I'm doing exercises, handstand, and still taking capsules multivitamin D3 for making those hair more thick. So it is just 5 months of result, and I'm still expecting some more progress in the result after few more months. And this is how the crown area is looking like from the front. When I put my hair down, you can see in this side by side image that the thinned part was too much before hair transplant, and around the crown area the hair were very thin, almost bald. But after the hair transplant, the condition of hair and the density has increased, and whatever the minimum hair is required to look like a person having full head of hair, I am having that. Front and side look and the look from the behind is kind of okay. If I have gone with more experienced transplant surgeon who is doing hair transplant 2 to 3 every month, my result would have been even better, but I'm still satisfied. You can see in the sunlight this is how my hair looks like. This side of frontal hairline is kind of okay, and in this side there is some patch which has having very less hair, but okay, it is just a 5-month result. I'm expecting the result to increase in more coming months. As in the frontal part, around 100 to 200 grafts were transplanted, but only 30 to 40 grafts are there right now. I'm hoping the result might improve in the future coming months. You can see that this is the crown area and how it looks like in the sunlight, and the hair are very thin there. And as I have mentioned in my previous videos, that during the hair transplant almost all of the grafts were used in the frontal part and in the middle portion, and there were very few grafts left for the crown area hair transplant. So there were very few grafts that were transplanted and it was almost empty. That's why the result is not that great. And you can see that this is how the donor area looks like in the sunlight. It is still very dense, it is very thick, it's still 5 to 7,000 hair grafts are there, which I can use in the future surgery if I need. At the moment I'm not thinking about that. I'm just trying to maximize the result which I'm having right now. You can see that this is how the donor area is looking like. It has fully healed and it is looking very normal now. And yes, this is the look from the behind, and you can see that this portion I mean, you might have seen in the previous images that this is how the hairline was created, and these many 200-300 grafts were there, and you can see only 30-40 hair is there. And you can see the arrow where I have pointed out, there is a small patch remaining. If a technician is very experienced, very good with his skill, these types of mistake doesn't happen in those clinics. So these types of blank patch are not there in the frontal hairline and temporal corners. And a few people say that, I mean, after shampoo, dry hair always look fuller. That's why I have created this video in my wet hair, so you can see the hair result clearly. And this is how the frontal hair line is looking like in wet hair. If you go to the beach, if you go to the river for swimming or anything, any outdoor activity, this is how your hair will look like in the wet condition. I'm showing you in the video. So I was hoping for better result, but still what I have got, I'm happy with that. I'm having full head of hair in both the temporal corners. This side the result is less, but I'm trying and expecting it to improve in the future. And the crown area, there were very few grafts were remaining during the transplant surgery. That's why the result is not that great, but still I'm using derma roller and minoxidil and nutrition and supplements as well to maximize the crown area result. So you can see that this is how it looks like in the wet hair. And this is a big learning lesson I have learned after the hair transplant, is that always choose a very experienced clinic and be happy with whatever you have. Also, I am working a lot in terms of meditation and reducing my stress, because stress is the biggest reason for hair fall or hair thinning. If you can manage stress, half of your problem is solved, and you can also save your hair. So this is how my crown area looks like in wet hair. And there were very less grafts transplanted, that's why the result is not that great, but I'm still satisfied. I'm trying to reduce my stress as much as possible to maximize my hair growth. So I'm expecting that in future, in coming months, the result might increase. And this is how the donor area looks like in wet hair. Still it looks fine and fully healed. Nobody can say that a lot of grafts has been plucked out from that donor area. So this is the result, guys. I hope you like the result. In case you have any comments, please put your comments in the comment section. And I'm also taking care of my nutrition. I'm taking a capsule which is having D3 multivitamin and biotin in it to maximize my hair growth. So that is what I'm using right now. My aim is to provide you the honest feedback based on my experience after hair transplant, so that it can help you in any way possible for making your decision and making you more aware about the hair transplant. I hope you like the video. Please subscribe if you like and comment if you have any questions or something.